They built 96 houses on my land. Not by accident. On purpose. You'd think that kind of thing can't happen in America. That land titles mean something. That if your name's on the deed, it's yours, full stop. But that's not what I found when I drove up to scatter my grandfather's ashes and discovered an entire subdivision where my forest used to be. Paved streets, streetlights, families, moving furniture into houses that never should have existed. One woman, a Rolex wearing, HOA president with a smile sharp enough to cut glass, told me I was trespassing on her property. She called me a squatter. She told me people like you don't win against people like us. That was the moment I decided to let them finish construction, then pull the deed out in court. What would you do if someone built a neighborhood on your land? My name's Dakota Flint, 47 years old, structural engineer. Divorced, 2 kids in college, a Silverado that burns a quart of oil a month. Nothing special about me, except that my grandfather left me 47 acres of Colorado forest. He bought it in 1971 for $8,200 cash. He was a Depression-era man, tough as iron and twice as stubborn. When he passed in 2019, he left me the property and one handwritten note tucked inside the deed. Don't let the bastards take what's yours. I didn't visit for 3 years. Work, kids, life. But I paid the property taxes every April, never late. $6,400 a year. So when I finally drove up in August 2022, I expected pine trees and silence. Instead, I found Ridgeline Heights, a luxury community of stucco boxes painted in HOA beige, with a stone sign out front like they were proud of it. I checked my GPS 4 times. Same coordinates. My coordinates. A guard stopped me at the gate. Residents only. I own this property, I said, showing him the deed on my phone. He smirked. Sure, buddy. And I'm Elon Musk. Then she appeared. Cassandra Whitmore, head of the Homeowners Association and queen of that beige kingdom. Perfect hair. Linen clothes that screamed old money. She didn't even look at me when she spoke. Sweetie, if you're looking for construction work, the crews are full. When I said my name and my grandfather's, her smile turned surgical. Our title company confirmed the land was abandoned. Adverse possession, sweetheart. It's legally ours. $16 million in pre-sales, she said. Families moving in by Thanksgiving. Then she snapped a photo of my license plate. In case you vandalize anything. People like you don't win against people like us. That night I sat at my kitchen table surrounded by every document my grandfather left me. 47 tax receipts, survey maps, the original 1971 deed. She thought she'd humiliated me. But she'd just given me everything I needed to bury her. The next morning I called her lawyer, Brian Keir. His assistant offered me $15,000 to go away and sign a quitclaim deed. $15,000 for $4 million in land. I hung up and started searching for a real attorney, the kind that makes developers sweat. That's how I found Lydia Chen. 60 years old, sharp-eyed, undefeated in property cases. Her office smelled like lemon polish and quiet confidence. She listened to my story, flipped through my tax receipts, then smiled. Barely. They don't have a claim. You've been paying taxes. Their case is stillborn. But instead of stopping construction, Lydia leaned forward. Let them finish. I must have looked crazy because she laughed softly. If you stop them now, they'll declare bankruptcy, tie your land in litigation for years. But if you let them finish, then file for judgment, you'll own 96 completed houses. They'll beg to settle. Fraud that big doesn't stay hidden. It was ruthless, cold, brilliant, and it was exactly what Grandpa would have done. So I hired her. For 3 months I watched them build. Twice a week I parked on the public road, documenting every nail gun, every pallet of bricks, every truck that crossed my property line. Cassandra noticed. Soon a sheriff's cruiser pulled up. The deputy looked young and uncomfortable. Sir, she says you're harassing her. I'm on public land, I told him. Check the county records, he sighed. Just don't give her a reason to call again. That's when I realized how deep her influence ran. By Thanksgiving, families were moving in, U-Hauls blocking the cul-de-sacs, kids riding scooters on driveways built on my soil. They weren't the enemy. They were just people chasing a dream. The American dream Cassandra sold them. Then came the letter. Whitmore Development LLC sent a cease and desist. They accused me of harassment for taking photos of their construction. Lydia read it and laughed until she wiped tears from her eyes. They just documented their own fraud, she said. They know there's a dispute and kept building. That's intent. Then she leaned across her desk. Do nothing. Let them keep writing their own confession. She tasked me with research. Everything public about the Whitmores, their companies, their financing. Turns out Cassandra's husband, Preston, ran a development firm that had already been sued for shady deals. The company financing Ridgeline Heights, also tied to them. They'd filed an adverse possession claim but never won it in court, meaning they sold land they didn't legally own. That wasn't just bold. That was criminal. December came and so did the attacks. A concerned citizen reported my property as an illegal dump site. County inspectors found nothing. Then came the online campaign. A Facebook post appeared in the Boulder Community Watch group. Beware local man Dakota Flint, stalking our neighborhood, photographing children, my truck photo attached, hundreds of shares. By morning I was branded a predator in my own town. I called Lydia, shaking. She's calling me a pedophile. Don't respond, she said. Every share is evidence. Document everything, but documentation doesn't stop humiliation. My boss called me in. Paid leave, pending resolution of a legal matter. Even Jenny from accounting, the lady who baked cookies at Christmas, crossed the parking lot to avoid me. Cassandra wasn't just taking my land. She was taking my life apart piece by piece. I thought about walking away. Lydia even offered $500,000 to settle, start over. Then I remembered Grandpa's note. Don't let the bastards take what's yours. No, we finished this. They vandalized my garage next, spray-painted pervert across the door. My daughter Emma called, crying. Someone sent her the Facebook post. I drove 2 hours to Fort Collins to explain everything. The deed, the taxes, the lawsuit. She read the papers, then looked at me with fire in her eyes. So she's lying about everything. Everything. Then stop playing defense. Hit first. Those words stayed with me. January 12th, Boulder County Courthouse. Lydia looked calm, lethal in a navy suit. You ready? She asked. Not really. Good. That keeps you honest. Across the aisle sat Cassandra and her husband, relaxed like they were at brunch. Judge Ramirez entered. She hated last-minute filings, and Cassandra's lawyer had filed one the night before. Lydia began methodically, property deed from 1971, 47 consecutive tax receipts, bank confirmations, photos, letters, the cease and desist proving they knew of the dispute. Then came the bombshell. Copies of emails between Cassandra and her husband discussing rushing pre-sales before deed verification. The courtroom went still. Cassandra's face drained of color. Preston whispered something. Their lawyer tried to object. Judge Ramirez cut him off. Counselor, your client sold 96 homes on property they did not own. Explain that. He couldn't. Lydia turned to me, then to the judge. Your Honor, we request immediate declaratory judgment transferring ownership of all improvements on the plaintiff's land to the rightful owner, Mr. Flint, and damages for trespass and defamation. The gavel hit wood. Motion granted. Just like that, it was over. Well, almost. The next month was chaos. News outlets picked it up. Headlines like Developer Builds Neighborhood on Wrong Land and Man Wins Back Property After HOA Fraud. Families who bought the homes? They weren't evicted. Lydia helped structure a settlement. Whitmore's insurance covered restitution. I sold most of the homes back at fair value. In the end, I kept the land, cleared my name, and watched Cassandra and Preston face charges for fraud and defamation. I didn't celebrate. I just drove my old Silverado up the mountain one more time, scattered Grandpa's ashes under the last surviving pine, and read his note again. Don't let the bastards take what's yours. This time I smiled. Because they didn't. If this story made your blood boil, or if you've ever fought to keep what's yours, hit that like button. Tell me in the comments what you would have done, and if you think justice like this deserves to be heard, share this video, because sometimes the only way to win is to let them finish building the house on your land.